What comes to your mind when you think of Mexico? Is it the vibrant festivals, the tacos, or perhaps the ancient ruins of the Aztec and Mayan civilizations? Mexico is famous for all of that and much more. But did you know that its history is filled with fascinating events that shaped the nation as we know it today? In this video, we will explore Mexico's incredible history. We'll start with the mighty Aztec Empire and dive into the dramatic Spanish conquest. Then we'll explore the country's long struggle for independence, the revolution, and the rise of modern Mexico. Join us as we dive into the key events that shaped this vibrant country. Long before the Spanish arrived, the land we now call Mexico was home to powerful civilizations, with the Aztecs being among the most advanced of them. The Aztec Empire, which lasted from the 14th to the early 16th century, was a dominant force in Mesoamerica. The Aztecs built great cities, the most remarkable of which was Tenochtitlan, their capital, located on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. Tenochtitlan was an engineering marvel, with canals, causeways, and beautiful temples, reflecting the Aztecs' impressive advancements in urban planning. The Aztecs were fierce warriors, and their empire expanded across central Mexico. They practiced polytheistic religion, worshiping gods such as Huitzilopochtli, the sun god, and Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god. Huge pyramids and temples were built for sacrifices, as the Aztecs believed these rituals kept the universe in balance. Despite its power, the Aztec Empire's reign was not to last. In the early 1500s, a new force arrived from across the ocean, the Spanish conquistadors, led by Hernán Cortés. The arrival of the Spanish marked the beginning of a dramatic chapter in Mexico's history, one that would forever alter its future. In 1519, Hernán Cortés embarked on a journey from Spain with a small group of soldiers. Upon reaching Mexico, he was initially welcomed by the Aztec Emperor Montezuma II, who believed that Cortés might be the returning god Quetzalcoatl. However, Cortés had other intentions. Instead of merely visiting, he took Montezuma hostage and began his conquest of the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs initially fought back with all their might, but they were no match for the Spanish forces, who had superior weapons and armor. After a fierce battle and a retreat, Cortés and his men were able to conquer Tenochtitlan in 1521, thus bringing an end to the powerful Aztec Empire. The Spanish began colonizing Mexico, naming it New Spain. The Spanish also brought with them devastating diseases, such as smallpox, which decimated the indigenous population. By the year 1605, it is estimated that nearly 24 million indigenous people had died from diseases brought by the Europeans. Alongside this, the Spanish enforced Christianity, and the Catholic Church gained significant power in the region, further shaping the future of Mexico. For nearly 300 years, Mexico was under Spanish rule. However, by the early 1800s, resentment against Spanish control began to grow. The Mexican people were weary of foreign dominance, and the Napoleonic Wars, which weakened Spain, provided the perfect opportunity for Mexico to push for independence. In 1808, Spain's influence over its colonies began to falter, and Mexico seized the moment. On September 16, 1810, a Catholic priest named Miguel Hidalgo called for independence in the famous Grito de Dolores, marking the beginning of the Mexican War of Independence. Hidalgo's army, which was composed mainly of indigenous people and mestizos, people of mixed Spanish and indigenous ancestry, fought fiercely for freedom, though Hidalgo was captured and executed. Despite his death, the movement carried on, led by figures such as José María Morelos. After more than a decade of fighting, Mexico finally won its independence. On September 27, 1821, the country was officially declared independent from Spain, and a new era began. However, Mexico faced significant challenges as it now had to establish a stable government, navigating the complexities of building a new nation. After gaining independence, Mexico struggled to create a stable government. Initially, the country was a monarchy, with Agustín de Iturbide crowned as its first emperor. However, his reign was short-lived, and Mexico quickly transitioned into a republic. The new government faced constant leadership changes and political turmoil, making it difficult to establish a strong political system. By the 1830s, Mexico's northern neighbor, the United States, became a significant challenge. In 1836, Texas declared its independence from Mexico, which was not immediately recognized by Mexico. Tensions between the two nations escalated, eventually leading to the Mexican-American War 1846 to 1848. As a result of Mexico's defeat, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed, and Mexico lost much of its territory, including Texas, California, and the Southwest. In the mid-19th century, Mexico faced yet another foreign threat, France. In 1862, France, under Emperor Napoleon III, attempted to establish a puppet empire in Mexico by invading the country. However, Mexican forces, led by General Ignacio Zaragoza, defeated the French at the Battle of Puebla on May 5, 1862, an event commemorated annually as Cinco de Mayo. But the French did not give up and returned in 1864, installing Maximilian I as the Emperor of Mexico. This period of French occupation ended in 1867 when Mexican forces, under Benito Juárez, successfully overthrew the French and restored the Republic. After the French invasion, Mexico entered a phase of political and social change. During the 1870s, Porfirio Diaz emerged as a strong leader and became president, ruling as a dictator. His reign brought stability and modernization to Mexico, but at the cost of significant inequality and injustice, as the rich grew wealthier while the poor remained in poverty. The political and social unrest during Diaz's rule eventually led to the outbreak of the Mexican Revolution in 1910. Fueled by dissatisfaction with the dictatorship, the revolution was driven by the demands of rural farmers and workers for land reforms and better working conditions. Revolutionary leaders such as Francisco Villa, Pancho Villa, and Emiliano Zapata led armed uprisings, and their fight for justice became a symbol of the struggle against oppression. The revolution resulted in a new era of Mexican politics, with the establishment of a more democratic government. In 1917, Mexico adopted a new constitution, which included progressive reforms such as land redistribution and labor protections. The revolution also led to the rise of the Institutional Revolutionary Party, PRI, which would dominate Mexican politics for much of the 20th century. Throughout the 20th century, Mexico experienced political and economic struggles, but also made significant progress. The PRI maintained control of the country for over 70 years, during which time Mexico underwent rapid industrialization and modernization. However, the PRI's rule was also marked by corruption, economic crises, and growing inequality. In the late 20th century, Mexico began transitioning toward a more democratic system. In 2000, Vicente Fox of the National Action Party, PAN, became president, ending the PRI's long-standing control over the government. This marked a significant shift in Mexican politics and allowed for greater political competition and participation. Today, Mexico is a democratic republic and a key player in global trade. Despite ongoing challenges like poverty, drug-related violence, and political corruption, Mexico has made remarkable progress in economic development. The country is now one of the largest economies in Latin America and an active participant in international organizations such as the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, and the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, now known as the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. Under the leadership of President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, elected in 2018, Mexico has focused on addressing inequality and corruption. The government has implemented numerous social programs aimed at improving the lives of millions of Mexicans. Mexico's diverse economy, which spans agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, and technology, continues to grow, with the country being one of the world's largest producers of silver, oil, and agricultural products like avocados and tequila. Mexico's history is full of triumphs, struggles, and incredible changes. From the mighty Aztec Empire to the fight for independence, the revolution, and modern-day challenges, Mexico's story is one of resilience, strength, and transformation. The country continues to evolve, and while it faces difficulties, its rich history and culture remain at the heart of the nation. If you enjoyed learning about the history of Mexico, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos about the incredible stories of the past and how they shape our world today.